الحوار صار جيل الوحدة.
كيف نحمي الشباب؟
الثقافة يجب أن يكون له دور
بالمهارات.
هذا شاب يبي يعني يروي نفسه، يبي عنده عطش من داخل.
فليش دائما نستورد الفكر الخارجي؟
أعزائي المشاهدين، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. هذه قناة البابطين الثقافية تلوح لكم كالعادة بالمحبة، ويسعدنا أن تكونوا معنا في برنامج حوار فكري. وضيفنا اليوم البروفيسور يوجين روغان، رئيس مركز الشرق الأوسط في جامعة أكسفورد، شخصية مهمة وله رؤية تستحق التأمل والتقدير عن الوطن العربي. مرحبا بك بروفيسور يوجين روغان، مرحبا بك في مؤسسة عبد العزيز سعود البابطين الثقافية. نحن الآن في مكتبة البابطين المركزية. هذه مكتبة تقدم الشعر وتقدم الثقافة، وأنت يعني خير من يمثل الثقافة الآن العربية والشرق أوسطية في الغرب. نريد أن نعرف منك بروفيسور يوجين روغان، كيف ينظر المستشرقون الجدد اليوم إلى الوطن العربي؟ نحن نعرف نظرة المستشرقين القدامى اختلفت بين إيجابية وسلبية. اليوم كيف تنظرون أنتم إلى الوطن العربي؟
First, thank you very much for the invitation to be with you today. It's a great honor to be here in the Babtain Library, a magnificent place. And as one of the new Orientalists to which you refer, I would have to say that coming to a place like Kuwait is an important reminder of what a liberal government with free press and a good ruler can provide to the Arab world. But Kuwait is an exception. And I think that those of us who study the Middle East are very concerned about the way in which revolutions in 2011 that had great hopes of bringing accountable government have left much of the Middle East a conflict zone, its cities destroyed and its people displaced. And so I think my colleagues in the West are most concerned about the prospect for conflict resolution and the reconstruction of countries like Libya and Syria and Iraq and Yemen, so that the displaced people of the region can return to their homes, and so that one can resume the search for accountable government, for good government in the Middle East.
بروفيسور يوجين روغان، نريد أن تعطي للمشاهد العربي نبذة أو لمحة أو تعريفا عن مركز الشرق الأوسط في جامعة أكسفورد. ما هو هذا المركز وماذا يقدم؟
I'm very proud of our Middle East Center in Oxford. The Middle East Center was established in 1957, and so this is our 60th anniversary this year. Our founding director was the greatest historian of the Arab world in the English-speaking world. His name is Albert Haurani. His History of the Arab Peoples is extremely famous, and translated in many, many languages, including Arabic. But we have always seen our center as serving as a bridge for building understanding between the Middle East and North Africa, Europe and the Western world. And we do this by providing a forum for the exchange of students and of intellectuals between Europe and the region. We have always felt that we study the region best by going to the Middle East, by learning the languages. And so for us, for our students, Arabic language training is a central part of what we do, or Turkish, or Persian, or Hebrew. And our research is always based on an engagement with the region. And we feel in this way that we can provide better information for a Western world that often does not have a good understanding of the realities of the Middle East. So we're very proud of our center.
عالمنا واحد والتحديات أمامنا مشتركة. هذه عنوان للدورة التي أقامتها مؤسسة عبد العزيز سعود البابطين الثقافية في جامعة أكسفورد. كيف كانت أصداء هذه الدورة؟ كيف نظرتم إليها؟ وهل حققت الفائدة التي كنتم ترجونها أو تنظرون إليها؟
Well, my first encounter with the Al Babtain Cultural Foundation was in the previous round, which was held in Brussels. And following the success of that meeting, we entered into discussions with the Cultural Foundation Al Babtain to discuss the possibility of convening the round in Oxford. And it was a wonderful exchange of ideas around this theme of a common world with shared problems and shared challenges. And it was to find intellectuals from the Middle East and the West who could have a useful discussion, which seemed to me to fit so closely with our own mission as a Middle East center. And so we were able to tap into the very extensive network that the Al-Babtain Cultural Foundation has already established among leading policymakers and intellectuals in the region. We contributed some academic thinkers from the West. And then Oxford provided an ideal forum. It's a very easy place to reach from the outside world, very close to Heathrow Airport. But you have the neutral terrain of this ancient and beautiful university city, so that thinkers can come and meet in good surroundings to address issues without concern for what might be reported in the newspapers. And I think we had a very open and frank discussion. I know that my colleagues and I learned a great deal from the prominent individuals who came to speak from the region, and I hope that they took back some good ideas from our conversations as well. It was a very successful meeting.
كرسي عبد العزيز سعود البابطين لوديان، هذا كرسي اللغة العربية تأسس على يد ويليام لوديان عام 1636. الآن أصبح اسمه كرسي عبد العزيز سعود البابطين لوديان للغة العربية. كيف تنظرون إلى أهمية هذا الكرسي؟ هل هو مهم بالنسبة للجامعة، بالنسبة للغرب في الوقت الحاضر، وما أهميته تاريخيا منذ تأسيسه؟
The Laudian Chair has a very important place in the history of teaching Arabic in the West. It's one of the oldest chairs in the Western world, one of the oldest chairs in the English-speaking world. As you said, it dates back to 1636. And so for us, this is a central chair for our mission in the Oriental Institute, for preparing young Western minds to engage with the Middle East. We've already said, for us, the Arabic language is fundamental. It is central to addressing and understanding the Arab world. And so now for us to have this ancient chair, whose resources over the past 4 centuries have diminished. It only supported 4% of the salary of the professor, and so was in risk of extinction. And really, Mr. Abdulaziz Saud al-Babtain has rescued this important piece of academic heritage. And so we are very proud to see his name associated with the name of Bishop Laud, who had been Archbishop of Canterbury and Chancellor of the University of Oxford. So a very prominent individual in the 17th century. Now we have a very prominent individual from the 21st century. Their names together, also representing the East, al-Babtain, the West, Laud, in one name, in one chair. Symbolically, materially, such an important transformative gift for us. We are very proud by the association.
جميل. بروفيسور يوجين روغان، هناك العديد من المؤسسات الثقافية العربية المهتمة بحوار الثقافات وحوار الحضارات وتقيم ندوات في الغرب. هل هناك مبادرات غربية أيضا من هذا القبيل؟ هل يهمكم الحوار مع العرب؟
I think you'll find in every research university where there is an advanced program for Middle Eastern studies, a commitment to developing dialogue between civilizations. I think that the initiative is stronger from the Middle East because I believe people in the Middle East feel deeply misunderstood, and we share that concern. And so we are very committed to using our institutions to try and provide a platform for bridging dialogues so that Western governments might make policies that will be more sympathetic to the region, more understanding of the cultural foundations of the politics of this region. This is really a big part of our mission. One part of our mission is to train young minds, our students, to prepare them for careers in Middle East service. But another part is to be the informed scholars who can give good advice to governments. And my colleagues and I are constantly going to the Foreign Office, to 10 Downing Street, to Parliament, to meet with officials whose word takes them to the Middle East, and to try and provide a bridge through a dialogue of civilization as well. So I think we work together in a very positive way with the initiatives coming from the region to achieve this common goal. But we have a lot of work to do.
بروفيسور يوجين روغان، ما أسباب الصراعات والحروب الدائرة اليوم؟ هل هي صراعات ثقافات تاريخية؟ هل هي صراعات دينية؟ أم هي صراعات مصالح؟
I think there are many different explanations for each of the conflicts that are raging in the region today. In some cases, we have conflicts that have emerged because in overthrowing long-established governments, power vacuums were created, and these vacuums have been filled not by thinkers, but by men with guns. I think in other cases we have very serious conflicts between different ethnic groups. And I'm thinking particularly of the tensions between the Turks, the Kurds, the Syrians, and the Iraqis. The Kurdish future is a source of great tension in the region and one of the unresolved national questions. And I think that there are conflicts that are religious, but between Muslims. And I look at the tensions between the Sunnah and the Shia in the region as a source of great instability and need for real conflict resolution to restore the peace and calm, particularly of the Khalij region.
بروفيسور يوجين روغان، رئيس مركز الشرق الأوسط في جامعة أكسفورد، من وجهة نظرك وموقعك الأكاديمي، هل تعتقد أن الدول العظمى اليوم تتصارع على أرض غير أرضها؟ هل تعتقد أن هذه الدول العظمى تتصارع عندنا في الوطن العربي أو ما تسمونه أنتم مركز أو ما تسمونه أنتم الشرق الأوسط؟
This is an excellent question. And I think until 2011, I would have said that we were dealing with a unipolar world in which America was exercising tremendous influence. But in the Obama years, after 2011, we really saw America withdrawing its influence from the region. It's as though the changes that were taking place in the Arab awakening or the Arab Spring were more than American analysts could address, and they decided not to engage but to withdraw. And in a sense, in the past 5 years, I think the most influential powers who have been exercising political influence in the region have been regional actors like Turkey or Saudi Arabia or Iran. And it's only with Russia's entry into the Syrian conflict that we've seen one of the former great powers begin to exercise important influence. The future to me is hard to predict. I see with the new administration in Washington greater isolation. And I don't expect them to play a very active role in Middle Eastern affairs. And I think many people in the region believe Russia will be influential and are looking towards China to perhaps fill the gap of great power influence in the region. But I think we are seeing a transformation where the importance of America and Europe is diminishing and where Eastern powers are taking more importance.
بروفيسور يوجين روغان، في القرن الماضي ظهرت نظريات كبيرة مثل نظرية صموئيل هانتينغتون صراع الحضارات، ونظرية نهاية التاريخ فوكوياما، وربما نظرية القطب الواحد. هل صدقت هذه النظريات فعلا؟ هل يعني أصبحت حقيقة اليوم؟ هل هو نهاية التاريخ وعولمة الاقتصاد وعولمة الديمقراطية كما يقول بنهاية تاريخ فوكوياما، أم هل هو صراع حضارات كما يقول هانتينغتون، أم هل هو القطب الواحد؟ يعني هل صدقت هذه النظريات؟
Our world is so complex that simple theories do not do justice to the wide range of variables we must consider in analyzing policy today. The clash of civilizations to which you refer was one idea that was of great simplicity, and so journalists liked it. It seemed to explain a post-Cold War world. But as we've seen, it doesn't really conform to the theory as outlined by Huntington, that there are conflicts taking place in the world today, I suspect have far more to do with material than with cultural differences. As for Fukuyama's end of history, it was the triumphal notion that with the West's victory in the Cold War, that the free market had won and there would be no conflicts. And I think Francis Fukuyama is the first one to recognize that that is no longer a valid framework. My own view as a historian is that human societies will continue to struggle and survive in a way that makes history a continuous and ongoing project. There is no end of history, and we will always find another reason to fight with our neighbors, whether we define it in terms of culture or civilization, or in terms of material interests and intolerance. I think the theories will never do justice to the complexity of human society.
بروفيسور يوجين روغان، من موقعك أكاديمي ومن علاقاتك مع المثقفين، كيف يمكن للمثقف للأكاديمي الآن أن يؤدي دورا في عملية السلام في العالم؟ كيف له أن يساهم في إطفاء وإنهاء هذه الحروب؟ هل للمفكرين اليوم دور في هذا المجال؟
I think everyone has a role to play in trying to promote a climate to restore peace and resolve conflict. But I think we have to be honest in recognizing our limits. I said before that my colleagues and I are often called by British government offices to give them our advice. And they're very interested to hear our advice. They take notes, they invite us back. But I don't often see them take our suggestions and make policy of them. Because academics and intellectuals are not constrained by the limits of power. And when I talk about the limits of power, anyone who comes to high office soon realizes they don't have a full free hand to do whatever they like. There are constraints, and they work within those constraints. So though we may have great ideas and see a simple way to solve complex problems, we recognize that there are established policies, there are security concerns, there are commercial interests that anyone in politics has to balance into the equation as they think about resolving complex political problems. So there are no simple solutions. We contribute with our ideas, we lobby, we put pressure by the letters we write or the articles we write. But I think we must recognize also that there's a limit to how much we can hope to achieve, that in the end, it is going to be the people in choosing wise leaders who are going to be setting us on the path towards conflict resolution, or the opposite of deepening the misunderstandings that lead to conflict.
العرب زرعوا وغرسوا شجرة سلام في أكسفورد، قام بها عبد العزيز سعود بابطين بغرس شجرة سلام في جامعة أكسفورد، رسالة من العرب إلى أننا نريد السلام ونحن دعاة سلام. هل لديكم مبادرات لغرس أشجار سلام في الوطن العربي؟
The tree was a beautiful idea to honor not just peace, but the people of Kuwait and the Emir, whose generosity in meeting the needs of refugees and displaced people saw him honored by the United Nations as a humanitarian leader in 2014. And it was an occasion for us to meet with Abdulaziz Saud al-Babtain. We had the great American philosopher and linguist Noam Chomsky with us. And each of us took the shovel to help to bury this tree as a kind of commitment among us all to live up to these high values. And I think as the tree grows, we all have hopes that with its good health, with the spreading of its branches, with the richness of its leaves, that we will see the development of a new culture of peace and hope in a region that we all love, that we all care for very dearly, but whose troubles seem to us still far from being resolved. So we need not just one Shajarat al-Salam, we need a forest of Shajarat al-Salam in order to try and take the hopes of a small group of people who came just on one day to wish for a better future and make it a movement that will be realized.
نريد بروفيسور يوجين روغان أن نختم هذا اللقاء والشيق والجميل ببعض الكلمات العربية توجهها للمشاهد.
وأريد أن أشكرك على هذه المناسبة حتى أستطيع أن أقول للمشاهدين على شاشة التلفزيون هنا في الكويت وحول العالم أن نعتبر الحوار بين الحضارات كأهم المبدأ هذا مبدأ مشترك ما بين مؤسسة البابتين ومركزنا في جامعة أكسفورد. فأشكرك على هذا الحوار الجميل، وأتمنى أن أرجع ونرد الخبرة في أقرب الوقت الممكن.
أكيد. ونحن أيضا بروفيسور يوجين روغان رئيس مركز الشرق الأوسط في جامعة أكسفورد نشكرك شكرا جزيلا. أعزائي المشاهدين، كنتم معنا في حلقة من حوار فكري، وضيفنا البروفيسور يوجين روغان رئيس مركز الشرق الأوسط في جامعة أكسفورد، وكان حوار مفيدا. إلى أن نلتقي في حلقات قادمة، ولوح لكم بالمحبة، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.